Okay, welcome back to the conversation and specifically the lounge. We are here on day one of the conversation, theconversation.cc, and we just want to do a little recap of the discussion over the course of the last, hour or two or three. So basically, within the network of conversations, Danny, you can imagine that we'll have different like types of conversations. Like, for example, we envision having a fake newsroom, right? Where it's a conversation about all the fake news that's getting pushed out there. And let's say that there are thousands of people who, out of the millions who come gushing in, let's say there's thousands who get really interested in this whole fake news thing because they're mad as hell that people are putting out so much fake news and they're not going to take it anymore, right? So they go to the fake newsroom, and let's say that of those thousands, right, a certain percentage want to focus on fake news related to climate and the environment. And so they go to the climate and environment fake newsroom, right? Somebody wants to focus on politics. Great, the politics. Others, somebody else on economics, somebody else on religion, somebody else on sports. I don't care, right? But you see, that'll organically flow. So beyond fake news, I'm sure I'll take an interest to see what's the next level deep, but I probably won't go too much deeper than that since I'm focused on other things, right? But
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to ask you, so then out of all of this, we're going to have like rise to the surface people with particular interests and a battery of individuals who are going to be kind of like room missionaries or monitors who are going to be able to take some of the people from the lounge, escort them or redirect them or monitor those conversations, or what was your idea for that?
Yeah. There will be all of the above, and so you'll basically have certified compassionate leaders leading triple C conversations. That's what we refer to as in network, right? But for stuff that's out of network that we don't certify, we can't guarantee it, obviously, but we can still point to it and say, hey, we've been checking in on this conversation from time to time and we think it's great, right? They're out of network, but we think they're great. Simple as that. So you'll have certified compassionate leaders leading conversations in network. You'll have members participating in conversations in network and out of network. You'll have certified lounge leaders taking care of the lounge and folks who come in. You'll have docents, volunteers who handhold, the individual and take them through different, experiences, different meeting rooms, different, tools or web pages which show the whole catalog of all the different conversations that are happening throughout the network and even out of network. You'll have instructors teaching, I'll just call them mini courses, right? So let's say, you're kind of new to a bunch of stuff and you don't know about Guy McPherson yet, right? So you might be encouraged by your docent or your guide or just folks hanging out in the lounge. You might be encouraged to take, say, the Guy McPherson mini course, which could be like 3 different videos. But instead of saying, hey, go home and watch these 3 videos, it's, this is when we're giving the courses, right? And you can have different times for the same course. And you might have, I don't know, a couple dozen people per course show up, right? So they show up and you've got an instructor who first plays the video and screen shares and probably does something else while the video is playing, right? Just keeps an ear on it in case one of the students is having an issue or something. But in general, just let it play. And at the end of the video, stop, go back to the Zoom room and say, all right, any questions, any comments? And then listen to this, okay? If there are questions or comments that we can't answer, we will email them to Guy McPherson and say, hey, Guy, here's the fresh round of questions and challenges to this presentation of yours, the first of these three. And then Guy can respond, and then we forward the response to all the participants, right? Or publish it on, just publish it there on the Q&A. So we'll have just like a big visible Q&A. They can still ask questions, even if they're in the Q&A. They don't have to read the whole Q&A. They can just ask a question. And then we can even screen share and direct them to the answer within the Q&A, right? And again, if it's a question that we've never heard before, we email it to Guy McPherson. And then we add it, question and answer, cha-ching. Anyway, going on mute. What do you think, Danny? Looks like you like it.
Sounds perfectly logical to me.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. And so now, so imagine we've got this Guy McPherson course, okay? And let's say that there are some folks who are challenging or have some serious unresolved challenges and questions regarding the whole Guy McPherson hypotheses, plural, because he's got several of them. And so a new conversation is formed, which is, I'm just kind of loosely calling a PhD level research conversation to research into, you know, all of the material stated as fact within the Guy McPherson series, right? These are researchers. Some of them are actual researchers. Others are hobbyists, you know, amateurs, and others are amateurs who've gotten really good at it and have actually learned a whole bunch, never been tested before, but now they're in this, you know, Guy McPherson Shark Tank. And it's like, is he right? Is he wrong? Let's look at this fact. Let's look at this. Let's look at this. Let's look at this, right? And since it's being recorded and transcribed, you know, and it's a series of meetings, right? They're probably not going to get it all resolved in one afternoon. So they agree upon a schedule, and then they work according to that schedule. And it might be live streamed, broadcast, transcribed, etc. Right? Yes, Danny.
Okay, so do you know what is the biggest, or does an intercollegiate network of forums or anything exist already? I was just wondering how to turn college students onto this in a big way.
Well, I think just by, number one, by creating it, and also just creating some basic courses, right? Like the Guy McPherson mini-series. That's basic. If you haven't watched that, by the way, Danny, have you seen Guy McPherson's stuff?
No, I have not.
Okay. So do you want to take a Guy McPherson mini course and then ask me questions that I can answer for you?
Sure, I'm in the car. Is it going to be audible?
Yeah, let me get something that's really focused on being audible. And
thank you so much. Okay,
absolutely.
great.
And I'll do that as a separate video recording. So I'm going to stop this recording and start a new one, okay?
Great, thank you.
Sure.